Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Haley and today I am sharing my top 10 digital art tips and tricks in Procreate. So Procreate has a bunch of different tools and options you can use just like any other digital program. I'm just sharing my personal favorite. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So number one is horizontal canvas flip. How you get there is this little tool button and then you go to canvas, flip canvas horizontally, and there you go. So this is super helpful because it lets you check any errors, anything that looks weird on the other side, and see it from a different perspective. So to undo it, you just hit the undo button. Number two is the selection tool, which is right up here. So you just click this, and if you want to make a selection, you can just make the selection. So I'm going to select the head, click that little circle, go back up here and click this arrow, and you've selected it. Now, what you can do is at the bottom here. So you can do freeform, uniform, distort, or warp. So freeform just goes like this. Okay. And then uniform makes you do it all together where it doesn't change anything. It all scales the same. Distort, you can make it look at different angles. And warp is just, you know, all kinds of crazy or warping the picture. You can also flip it vertically, rotate it, fit it to screen, I mean, really anything. So to undo that, just go to the undo button. But this tool is super helpful and I use it all the time. So that way, instead of, if you made the head too big or too small, you can just select it and fix it. Number three is the fill-in tool. So I'm gonna go up here, make sure I'm on the correct layer underneath my line art layer. Zoom in here. Make sure I have a good brush size, her skin color. I'll just do an example of her face. So you make an outline of what you wanna fill in, like this. Go over here, you hold it, drag it, drop it. Now it does leave this weird line for some reason, which you can just go over like this. Tool is super helpful because instead of doing, you know, this and trying to color and spend hours coloring, you can just make a whole selection really quick like this. Drag it, drop it. No, drag it, drop it. There it goes. And fill it in. Because yes, it will leave these weird this line from where it separates, because this is the filled in area, this is the outline, so just go back over it really quick. Number four is Alpha Lock, and this tool is honestly a lifesaver. So go to your layers, which is right here, click on the layer, your line art layer, and then it gives you this menu. So you're gonna wanna click this one right here, Alpha Lock. Click it. And it shows up as checkered if you did it right. It looks all checkered right here. Click out of that. Zoom in on the layer, or, you know, not zoom in. Yeah, airbrush is fine. I'm just gonna stick with red to show you guys what I mean. And what you can do is color your line art without coloring anything else. Like, that is so freaking cool and honestly a lifesaver. So yeah, Alpha Lock is the secret to coloring line art. To turn off Alpha Lock, you just go right back up to your layers, click on that layer you want to turn off, and then turn off like that. Number five is the opacity tool. So if you go over here to the side, this changes the opacity of your current brush. And if you go over here to your layers, this button, when you click on that N, it also can show the opacity of a layer. So the opacity tool is super helpful over here, especially because when you start to color in, so I'm just gonna do like a basic lighter shade. What I always do is turn the opacity down to start maybe putting in highlights. Okay, not that light. but you get the idea. You turn the opacity down, and that way it doesn't come on so strong. And you can do like highlights, and you can do the shading. And this is going to bring me to my next tool. Number 6 is the Smudge Tool. So for the longest time, I didn't know where that was, but it's right here. It's this little pointer finger. This is the Smudge Tool, and you can pick any brush to use as the Smudge Tool. So you can, I usually use the soft airbrush, but I mean, you can pick any of the brushes. So I usually keep it on soft brush, turn my opacity down a little bit. I usually have the brush size up pretty high. There we go. And then it just smudges the colors together and blends it. So this is just an example, but just smudge it together. And then before, see, this is what it looked like before. And then after we smudged, this is what it looked like. So it's super helpful for blending things, especially skin tones. Number 7 is the Recolor tool. This is super helpful, especially if you've already colored things. So I'm gonna use the trees as an example here. And you go up to this magic wand tool, where it's the adjustments tool. You go down to Recolor. Oops. And you hover over what you want to recolor. So right now I have a pink color selected, but I'm gonna change it to like a brown. So you can, I mean, change it to any color, as long as it's already filled in. And it's super helpful, so you don't have to recolor anything. If you don't like the color of the trees, you can just change it. And this can be applied to any of your layers. Number 8 is Gaussian Blur. So I took off all my other layers so you could see it pretty clearly. So I'm gonna click on my tree layer. I'm gonna go to this magic wand tool where the adjustments are, go down to Gaussian Blur. This is super helpful because it will blur the background and it will appear as if things are moving further away. So you just slide to adjust, and as you can see on my finger, as I slide, things become blurry. So about like right here, looks nice. And it blurs the background and it makes things appear like they're going in the distance. Also, combining two things that we've learned today, you can actually, if you don't want to blend out these front trees, you can make a selection. So get the selection tool and let's make a selection all the way around all the trees except the first two in the front. So click that button. Now go to your Gaussian blur and you can go ahead and slide it and blur the background, but notice how the front two trees are not blurring. That's because we've only selected the background. So yes, you can select the background and make those go in the distance while the front ones are still in the foreground and they are not blurred out because they are in the front with the character. Number 9 is layer modes. So I've already went ahead and added a bunch of stuff in, but I'm gonna go ahead and take some of those modes off. If you wanna change a layer mode, you click that N button and see all these options right here. These are your layer modes. So you're always on normal layer, but if you wanna lighten something up, you can do lighten, screen, color dodge, any of these. Some of my favorites are screen, color dodge, add, overlay, and linear light, yeah. So for example, if I want to do like a really cool lighting behind her, I would, let's do color dodge first. And I would pick the color I want to use. So I want to use like a blue, pick my airbrush tool, and I do this. You see how that changes? So that's before and that's after. You can also change it when you're here. So if you go to color dodge, you can change it to different ones and see the different kind of effect it would have. See, overlay has kind of a cool spooky effect. All vivid light almost looks like she's underwater, which we don't want that. But yeah, so you can play around with this kind of thing. but color dodge seems to be working the best for what I would like. So when you have it like right here, you can also change the opacity so it's not as intense. So, you know, it probably wouldn't be this intense, but maybe down a little bit, just like that. So with layer modes, there's really just an endless amount of possibilities. So I'll just show you some of the ones I've already done. This one was just kind of more highlights, and I used divide for it. And here's a couple more. These are the little sparkles I used. The backlighting is normal, but these are on add to make it pop a little bit more. Number 10 is the curves tool. So what I'm going to do is first export a JPEG. So JPEG. Okay, so now I'm in the JPEG. As you can see, it's all on one layer, which is what we want for this final step. So for the curves tool, you go to adjustments and you go down to curves. Now this is a last step kind of thing. So let me move this out. Here we go, as you can see. So you're gonna have this bar down here, and you can change things specific, but we're gonna go ahead and mess around with it. So as you can see, this makes it more red, this makes it more blue. But what the curves do is they just give you the final effect you're looking for. And I don't always do this, but if I kind of want to mess around with the color scheme, I'll go to curve. So as you can see, I'm messing with the green right now, and it actually looks really cool, but I probably won't leave it green. I like it more like this. Like, ooh, that's so pretty. It's blue. I love that color. And this makes it more spooky, I think. But yeah, so the curves just kind of let you play around with and adjust what you already have. So I'll show you, this is what it looks like right now, and this is what it looked like before. And then after it looked like that. So really just mess around with this, see what you like, and yeah. All right, so those are my top 10 tips and tricks for Procreate. If you like this video, please give it a huge thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for future videos. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.